Travelers. I'm Josh,
And I'm Kahi.
and we're the Genshin guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, also known as miHoyo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. If you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the podcast. So before we get started, Kahi, how are you doing today?
I just woke up like 30 minutes ago, and I gotta tell you, I really wish I stayed in bed, but the podcast must go on, the show must go on. So I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, bro,
definitely.
thanks.
Wow. I'm still here in heart and spirit.
Uh-huh.
Maybe half of my spirit is still in the bed. Who knows? Well, yeah, nothing much today, but oh man, last night I was just trying to catch up on like all my anime, and then I'm like, okay, just one more episode, and then I'll go to sleep. But something
Dude,
just kept me watching.
Oshinoko!
I swear, I love that. I watched it like on the day it released, so I know I was already like, well ahead of everyone. But
Me too.
yeah, I love that last episode. But the other one I've been watching really closely is, are you watching?
Not watching anything else.
Nothing else. Okay,
Nothing else.
so I was watching Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. Caught up on a few episodes,
Okay.
and wow, this thing is like if you basically like did not show them in a school, you would think that they're in the actual government, just because of all of like the things that they're getting involved in. You know, civil war. You have corporate politics and espionage. You have people dying left and right. Wow, what a show.
Wow.
Also the other one, Hell's Paradise, which I'm not really I was never really like a fan of, I guess, survival game story types where like clearly everyone's going to die, but you're just waiting to see who goes first, or like
I see.
who's gonna beat the other person, who's gonna like, you know, betray someone else. But it's actually a very interesting premise. But this isn't an anime podcast, but that's just what I'm into. Yeah, I think there's like 12 shows in my queue right now. A couple I have to finish from a couple seasons ago, and then everything coming out this month and next month. I'm trying to get this pile of anime down because I really like all these shows. But other than that, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just been busy, just trying to figure some stuff out here and there. But been playing Genshin, been playing some Honkai, been playing some Diablo 4, been playing some Street Fighter.
How is it, by the way? I never played Diablo. How is it?
It's great, and it is much better than the old ones, in my opinion. I only played, granted, I only played Diablo 3 and a little bit of Diablo 2, and then I played the mobile game, which was actually not that bad. Just there's like the whole paywall thing that a lot of people complained about, which I never got that far, so I never experienced it. But the game was good, compared to the third one especially. But then this one is just even better than all of those. It's very fun to play. It's one of those games where they make you feel powerful, and I feel like recently there haven't been a lot of games like that, right? A lot of games, I mean, like Dark Souls games became popular, literally the opposite of feeling powerful. Like, it's like they beat you into submission until you get to a point where you can actually fight back. But in this game, you just start weak, and then you get strong, and then sometimes you get insanely strong because you get like a temporary buff or something. And yeah, it's really fun to play, especially with friends. It's possible to play alone. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say that this game is much more enjoyable playing with friends who are at the same level, and you all kind of explore and learn stuff together. So it's been really fun. So I've just been kind of trying to figure out how to manage time. It's always the most difficult thing, man. There's not enough hours in the day, honestly. And
no.
Right? So so it's been good. So that being said, let's get started with today's topic. So first, we're going to talk about our weeks in Genshin, and then we're going to talk about Genshin news. Then we're going to talk about the Divine Ingenuity event that is happening in Genshin right now, where you can create your own custom domains. Now, it's very cool. We're going to talk a lot about this, so buckle up. Then we're going to be talking about the Spiral Abyss, this really difficult Many people saying the hardest Spiral Abyss we've ever had, which I agree. And we're gonna be talking about this 3.7 Spiral Abyss, and just my experience with it. I did complete it yesterday, so that was fun. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Then we'll talk about our last segment, which is the community discussion question. Okay, so before we jump into our topics, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord and you're looking for a community of people to talk about things like Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, as well as other games, and just, have an overall great community of people to talk to, feel free to join our Discord. The link is in the description. And it's great. We're going every day. We have over 200 members now. And it's pretty active in there. We do things like camera contests. We did our first karaoke night the other night. There was a good, 15 people or so that showed up. It was fantastic. And of course, on the Discord, you can tell when I am streaming on Twitch. So you can join us for Twitch streams as well. Which, Kahi, I believe we will maybe do a Twitch stream coming up soon. So if you guys want to see that, feel free to join the Discord and you will be notified. So let's head into our first topic then, as always, which is our weeks in Genshin. So Kahi, how has your week in Genshin Impact been?
It's been pretty chill. I'm still trying to gather some artifacts, still trying to find a good electro set for my Kaching. I finally got her attack above 2000, which is great. But for some reason, she just has like a heck of a lot of ER. She's like at 220%. So like I always have her energy before her cooldown. But the other thing I've been trying to get back into is doing some camera practice and making a little bit of a guide. Because, I think of all the channels in our Discord, I'm most active in the camera originals. Because I just like seeing what other people are taking pictures of. And also like just looking through my old library. I have like a couple hundred like Genshin pictures of just like random screenshots over the years. And they're just trying to look through my library, see, hey, that reminds me of this one. Oh, that reminds me of this one. And so as a side project, I'm thinking of making a camera guide. Or like, small little techniques. It's most likely going to be a video. So
and you're going to post this on like Hoyo Lab and all that stuff and YouTube, right?
Probably. Definitely put it to YouTube.
That's great.
Yep, same handle, same name and everything.
Kahio, Khio.
It's easy to remember. Yeah, exactly. Might have to put that link in the description too, but people know what to look for anyways.
Yeah, if you come to the Discord, we're gonna post everything there, right? So.
Discord first, or Twitter first, or Twitter second, everything else third. But yeah, I actually it's one of those things where a game like this really benefits from it. The other game, after like 9 years, like in Destiny 2, we still don't have a camera mode despite all amazing art in the game.
Wait. Oh my god, graphics. Destiny 2 has been out for 9 years?
Yep. We are going into our 10th year, which is the end of the original plan when Destiny launched.
Oh.
But, after all this time...
Wait, they don't have a camera mode?
Nowadays,
but that was like a staple
do not have a camera mode.
in Halo.
I know.
That's crazy.
I understand. They don't. I don't know why.
I get that.
Apparently it was a lot of back-end work.
Yeah, because it's an always perpetually online game, so I see why that could be a thing. But like, man, Halo pictures.
That kind of... Oh, screenshots are great. I had a file share like always full.
Same.
But the more the time goes on, the more we realize just how much work is involved into making a game. Even the developers say how much work it goes into making a game. But on the topic of cameras, so very recently in our Discord, we had someone who posted a bunch of pictures that looked like almost real life with the lighting at sunsets, but it was just heavily color edited. But this is also bringing up a point where a lot of games also have color accessibility features where you can set like a filter for, I guess, different types of color blindness. Some people use that to their advantage, some people use it just for like preference, but some people actually use it to be able to see the game better. Genshin's a really colorful game, but with the lack of a certain color, if people can't see it, then they really aren't getting the full experience. So sometimes having that can dramatically change the look of the game. So like this person who posted all these pictures actually did heavy color filters, but it, honestly, just by looking at it, Genshin could really use that, and people could like make their game look different from someone else's game, just like a quality of life thing. I mean, they might be able to add that later on in the future if they really decided to, but we don't know the back end work involved in that too. Just like, Bungie and like, oh, why don't they have screenshots or a camera mode? We don't know how much work goes into making a game like that have it. Same thing for Genshin. I don't know if they even have it on their plate, but Genshin's only been out for 3 years. Like every other game, every other live service game, either like either got axed very quickly after a year, or just it's not even like we don't even hear about them at this point. Faded into obscurity is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. I've been stuck taking picture after picture after picture, just hoping to get the right shot. Just getting some practice. What about you, Josh? What you been up to in Genshin?
So I mentioned this earlier, but on stream I was able to clear Spiral Abyss, which is really cool because it was very hard, and I'll mention that more as we talk about it later. I was playing some TCG because of the event, which is really cool. I kind of wish they were keeping the heated battle mode. I really like it. Did you try that?
The heated battle mode for TCG?
Yeah, it's like so like the way it
I
works,
think I did.
it's like the one where like there's like a pool of characters that randomly come up and you have to draft your cards and then they give you a random deck to play with.
Oh, that one, no.
Dude,
I went into the tavern to like play around, but I just got the new cards to make my own deck.
I
But I didn't do that
think
specific
it ends
mode.
today. Go play it. Like it's like even if you just play one round, like I really love the concept. It's like you have to play against a person. It's not a computer as far as I know. And then you there's like 7 character cards, I think. And then you pick the first one. If you're on the left side, you pick the first one. Which character card you want. And then the enemy picks 2 character cards, and then you draft your last 2 character cards, and then your enemy drafts their last character card, and then your deck is randomized for you, and it usually involves cards that go with that card, like their specific card or whatever, and then you duel. And it's really interesting because you don't have to think about putting a deck together. You just have to draft the character cards you want, and you get a chance to try out character cards you don't have yet. So I personally think that if it was a permanent mode, I would probably play that more than the building my deck and playing TCG, because it's really fun because the way I like to play is I like to play dealing with what I have. And I know that part of the layer of strategy for TCG games is to like play around the way your deck is built, but like, knowing, oh, I have this card coming, so I gotta wait for it so that I can do this combo. But like in this one, you don't know, so you kind of have to make do the best with what you got, like the hand you've been given kind of thing. And I really enjoy it. I've also been catching up on my NA account, so slowly but surely. And yeah, just been enjoying Genshin overall recently. Like it's really in a slower point, but like because of things we're gonna talk about today, like Spiral Abyss, Divine Ingenuity, and because of Fontaine hopefully coming soon, I'm just really excited for Genshin again. Like I'm just really wanting to prepare myself for what's coming next. So I've just been kind of just poking around in all the different places in Genshin right now of the things I haven't done. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I've done this week. So let's move on to our next topic, which is Genshin news. Okay, this week in Genshin news, we had a birthday. We had Lisa's birthday on June 8th, and it's really great. Lisa was one of the first characters that we get.
The
in
original.
The OG Ara.
The first
Ara.
one, some may say.
The OG Ara, the I have to mute my game when playing this game when my family's around kind of character.
Or blast it.
Or blast it. And yeah, and so like what I thought was really interesting was like looking at Lisa's message. She like says something about, oh, before you go to Sumeru, like once you go to Sumeru, once you go to Fontaine, I won't be able to see you as much. So like I was like, oh man, like this is not the kind of message you would get after we go to Fontaine. Like they really contextualize it to some degree with what's happening now in your journey, which I think is really cool. So
I mean, I was thinking she probably knows that getting to Fontaine is probably a little bit more challenging. Maybe that was a slight hint, but then again, we crossed the chasm to get to Sumeru, and we
Yeah.
still saw some people. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I thought
I just what I like
she
is
probably knows a lot more.
I
Then.
just like that basically she is referring to the fact that we have not gone to Fontaine yet, and that is where we are going next. Like, because this is not a message we would have got a year ago from Lisa. You know what I mean? Because like that would be way too far in advance. That's like a character sending you a mail right now and saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see you before you go to Snezhnaya." But like that's like 4 years from now. Like, you know, there's no point in sending that message yet. So, you know, she mentioned Fontaine, so I thought that was cool. So Lisa's birthday. We also got a new banner coming out soon, which is Al Haitham and Kazuha are the two featured characters. And then we have 4 stars Xiangling, Yao Yao, and Heizo. Are you interested in rolling for any of these characters, Kahi?
Not particularly, but now that I've been playing around with it, when I got Baiju earlier, I was trying him out as like a Dendro DPS, but he was a little bit slow.
Yep.
But I realized I actually have some pretty good Dendro artifacts. I have some pretty good teams in mind, but the thing is, it's another Dendro character. I do have a lot of Dendro characters. A lot of them are support, and then of course I have the Archon. Do I really need Al Haitham?
Yes.
Just for like a DPS character?
Yes.
It's a want, not so much a need.
It's a yes.
I mean, for those of you who are like actually trying to decide if you had to choose between Al Haitham and Kazuha, honestly, pick Kazuha, please.
Yeah, no, for
forever.
sure.
He's forever relevant.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like Kazuha.
Hard agree. Yeah.
Kazuha is almost necessary, in a lot of situations, and he makes a lot of more parts that could otherwise be sort of annoying, more fun. And of course, he's really good for exploration, right? So he groups enemies really well in a fun way, shreds their resistance, and you can also jump mid-air with him. Like you can double jump, right? You jump and then you use a skill in the air, and then he jumps again, which is really cool. He's just an overall amazing character to play and unit. Really cool. They give him a lot of love. There's a lot of backstory for him in the game. So definitely recommend Kazuha if you don't already have him. But Al Haitham is good, and if you're interested in a Dendro DPS, Al Haitham is definitely up there. So recommend. I mean, they're both good. So depends on you. For me personally, I have both of them, but I really want I want Heizo. I want more Heizo constellations. So I might try to roll a little bit for Kazuha, because if I get Kazuha C1, he becomes even more fun to use, because every time he does his burst, his cooldown for his skill is reset, and his skill also just passively has 10% more cooldown, less cooldown,
and you can charge it.
Yeah, so it's really great. So like I might roll a little bit for that, but I'm not quite sure. Not a huge deal. The other thing is there is an Al Haitham fan art contest by Hoyoverse, which you can submit your fan art on HoYoLab from June 7th to June 28th. And so if you're interested, if you have some fan art already, I mean, go ahead and submit it.
Not that kind of fan art. Not that kind of fan art. The regular kind of fan art. Just to be clear.
I don't know what the rules are. Go look at
that folder.
Go look at the rules.
Secured.
Go look at the rules. Maybe there are some exceptions. But yeah, Al Haitham fan art contest is going on, so check that out. Yeah, so that's mostly the news. There's not that much news. It's like pretty slow. The biggest news is basically the Divine Ingenuity event, which we are going to talk about as our next topic. So, speaking of that, Kahi, let's talk about Divine Ingenuity.
Like the thing that I have, or the game mode?
Let's go with the game mode for now.
Okay, I guess that's later then. Okay, cool.
Okay, guys, so for those of you that don't know and haven't done it yet, Divine Ingenuity is a game mode where you create your own custom domains. It is very, very, very creative based. You can go really, you're really free to do a lot of different things. If you're having trouble with some of the tips and like how to do some of those things, they have some preset domains where you can see how they work in the game itself. And then on HoYoLab and on Twitter, there are some tips that show you how some of the game mechanics work when building a level. But it is very intuitive, and once you learn the ropes, you can start making almost anything. It's very, very cool. And there's also a Design Your Domain challenge from June 8th to June 29th, where they've built the whole website dedicated to sharing these domains. It is very robust. I would definitely recommend checking it out. But definitely try making a domain, try playing it first, and then go check out some domains so you understand exactly what you're looking at. But there's a lot of potential in this game mode. So, Kahi, what do you think of this game mode? What do you like about it? Like, what are first impressions for you?
All right, so very, very early, right away, I asked myself this: do I want to spend hours crafting a really cool domain only to have it be absolutely destroyed forever in 2 weeks? And I'm really conflicted because I really do want to build something in this, but I know I'm going to spend a lot of time, honing it, tuning it, crafting it, because I did the same thing in my teapot. However, my teapot is still there, and this one will soon not be here. So I'm very conflicted. From my view, this is like the best mini game, and at the very same time the worst, simply because of the time limited thing. Because the domain is going to get just destroyed. They're going to take it away, and then new patch. Yeah, this is very weird. It's a very weird feeling.
Okay. If that's your issue, though, I do have something that might be able to soften the blow a little bit.
Okay.
If you didn't read the fine print, that website. Have you looked at the website already?
I took a look at it briefly. They have like a showcase of a lot of people saying, "Hey, do this for easy stuff."
Yeah. Okay.
Do this for like easy clears.
Yeah. First
that's
of
pretty
all,
much all of them.
First of all, it's still super new, so there hasn't been anybody yet who has sat down and tuned it and put love into it and really tried and then uploaded it. Like there hasn't. It's just too early. So right now we don't have that at this moment. We'll definitely have some, but as the longer that these kind of modes are active, the more people get creative, and the better content we get, right? Which is like how these creative modes work. The thing is, though, with this showcase website, right? Like I said, it's really robust. It has a lot of features. There's filtering. You can find the different kinds of domains based off of keywords and other things, and they mention in the fine print that even after the event ends, the showcase website will stay up. So you can still look in there, but you just cannot add anything new to the website. So even if you spend some time on it, yes, as far as we know, it just goes away. Like maybe it gets deleted or whatever, deactivated, and like you can't see it again, but the showcase remains. And obviously, if we record our own videos about it and like Twitch and YouTube or whatever, those videos stay too, and you can immortalize your work that way. But that is something that is up. In an official capacity, it does stay somewhere. So while it's not the same thing, I'm really hoping from this game mode and the way that they've built this with the website and everything, that this is just a big test run for what is later going to be a permanent mode. And we've talked about this before. One of my favorite things, and one thing I always request in the surveys, is let us make our own custom domains with custom waves of enemies, and basically that could be the new endgame, an infinite endgame where we don't have to worry about Spiral Abyss and resets and stuff. And plus we can use every character, which is like a super cool part about this game mode that we can do, is like you can put any character as a trial character and people can try them out even if they don't own them. So there's like ultimate creativity here. So yeah, I think that I totally get your dilemma, like spending so much time, especially for someone who doesn't have much time and has to allocate time just to do this, and then just to know that it's going to disappear in the near future sucks. But it's
because for some people it might take a week.
True.
Like an actual hard week.
But I also believe firmly, especially in Hoyoverse, in that the more of those things that are made during this event time, the more inclined they are to make this a permanent mode or to do something about that. Like, if everybody thought the way you thought and didn't spend any time on it because they thought, oh, it's gonna go away anyway, then Hoyoverse might take that as people are just uninterested in this kind of game mode, and then we'll never get it. So I think there is merit.
That's true. Yeah,
doing it.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and so if you make
So
something
it's good to
that's
give them
really
data,
good and
yeah.
really great, and you share it around, and it gets shared around, then it'll be buzz for the mode, and there's more potential in them bringing it back, in maybe in a more permanent capacity, or using that to make better events or whatever have you.
Well, to go on a more positive note, there was definitely a post I found on the Genshin official Reddit, and I knew this was going to happen, but this was like honestly the best version of it. So you can make a domain knowing full well that only a certain person's or certain character's skill will be able to trigger the event or to be able to trigger the puzzle or solve it. So this person made a whole domain specifically to be done by Beto. So what's incredibly clever about this is that there are these electro statues that you had to activate. They're at a long distance. However, you couldn't actually walk up close to it. There's like lightning strikes that come down, and you had to time it where you had to counter so that your skill could reach further and then hit the statue. So you had to do that for like every like blocked off or hidden little electro statue in order to progress forward. I thought that was incredibly clever. The other things in it, they had these little, the little dendro tethers as you found in Sumeru, where during the fight, like there was like this big pulse on the ground, so you had to go, tether into the air. But of course, since you're Beto, you can do the falling, slam attack during the combat animation. So you have hilichurls, you have pulses on the ground. You have to get, launch into the air to avoid the thing on the ground. This is just really clever. I like this post that I saw. Of course, it's Beto, but I like just knowing that the strength that Beto has allow you to progress through this thing that really is meant to be done by that one specific character. I'm sure other electro characters could find a way to get past all the little puzzles if you're smart enough. But the fact that you can really design it around the character, is fantastic.
Yeah, I played some like Kazuha only, like meant for a Kazuha domain where like you couldn't jump enough to get over like a block or something unless you had his skill, because you had to be like midair, and then you'd have to like do a double jump. You know what I'm saying? So like, there are some really interesting.
You could probably do that with geo characters. You could make like a little geo construct.
No. Like you're in the air. The wind tunnel only puts you to a certain height, and then to get above where you need to get onto the ledge, you need to jump again in midair. And Kazuha's only
that right there. That's cool. I like that.
And then you can even if you don't own Kazuha, you can just say the set character for this domain is Kazuha, right?
You know what? Thinking back, the teapot. Was there ever like a beta version of the teapot? Was there ever like a mini game that was like that? I don't think so. It was very long. It was very early.
I think they were planning on the teapot from the beginning. They were just tweaking it a bunch, so they didn't really need to test it per se. And so like that's why and it obviously improved over time. Like it's much better now than it was at the beginning. So they kind of just went live with it and just tested it that way, I guess. Kahi, have you played Divine Ingenuity? Like, have you tried it yourself?
All the levels weren't unlocked. Like, you know how they have like they have the preset ones, obviously, and I know you can of course search like the community ones, but I was gonna wait till all of them were available so I can actually just have a good sit down play session. So. But
you didn't do the preset ones yet?
No, because they weren't all unlocked yet, so I'm gonna wait till they're all unlocked so I can then do them all at once.
Okay, dang it, Kahi.
I mean, we have over 2 weeks.
I know.
Next episode,
I need to explain to you something. Okay, so.
Okay.
One reason.
I've seen the mechanics, but yes.
Well, one reason I'm excited is because of this game mode. Actually, that made me really like impressed. Was there is a mode? There are things you can do in this game mode where in the preset game mode, I forgot which one it was. Like the imaginary. I mean, they're all called imaginary something. I forgot what it's called. Yes, yeah, it was called Nimbus Grasper. It's the third preset domain that you have. And they modeled it to be exactly a mini simulated universe from Honkai Star Rail. Like
It looks exactly like it.
it's the same. No, it is. It's the same thing. So like you go
Really?
in. You go in. There's you fight some enemies. You get coins, like points or whatever, and then these two things appear. One of them is a buff enhancer thing, so you can use those coins to buy buffs, similar to Simulated Universe
Oh,
blessings.
like the portals. Like you're going through like left
No,
to
no,
right
no.
domain.
Not a
or-
portal.
mm.
Like it's like an
I
enhancer.
mean, it's like that in.
It's like you know when you talk to Herta and you ask her like, I want to buy a blessing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like every time you're in Simulated Universe, you have that little portal to go to the next domain, but you can choose like a buff or okay.
No, not that. Not
I
that.
know I know
Not-
what you mean, but I know like
Okay, like okay, so okay, wait. When you're in simulated domain, when you're in simulated universe in Honkai Star Rail, you know when you're in a respite domain, and there's like Herta is there, there's a reviver
Yeah.
machine, and then there's a in a downloader so that you can invite new characters to your party that you can
Right.
start with.
mhm.
You can do that. So you can go in with characters that they only allow you to have in the beginning, and then part way through, while you're in the domain, you can invite other characters that you've set using the coins in there to add one character or whatever to your party, and then you can change your party mid-domain.
You know, I really think they should add this to all like actual domains.
I mean,
Like, a
maybe,
domain,
but
They
like,
could make like a series, a small little like progression or level, instead of just go in. This is one arena. Everything happens in this one arena.
well, maybe they will, right? Like,
Making it feel like a
maybe,
dungeon.
maybe they will do that. Like, maybe this is a sort of way to test that in a way. But like I like why I'm saying this like this is because like I really wish you tried that, because it blew my mind. Like I was like
Yeah, just switching characters.
I didn't understand. No. Like the way that they set it up was they literally set it up like Simulated Universe. So basically, you start with no coins. You go in, you fight some enemies. You take those things appear. You can choose. Do you want to spend your coins on some blessings, or do you want to download a character to your party that you don't already have? They only start you with 3 characters, and then you go and you can invite a character from a list of characters that they've set up. And then, okay, I said, okay, I see Yoimiya, so I put Yoimiya in my party. I had enough coins for a buff, so I got like a normal attack buff. Then there's a little door. You go through the door, and it goes you to the next level, the next domain. You fight some enemies, get some coins. Again, choose some buffs, or choose to invite a character. And then you can change your party whenever you want. And then the next...
I'm assuming the buffs are strong. Like
the buffs,
they're like
the buffs are pretty strong. Yeah,
the minigame buffs, not the abyss buffs, but
No. Like, yeah, the minigame buffs, like extra
the actual
40%
fun
attack.
buffs.
Yeah, exactly, the actual fun buffs. And then I went to the next domain. But this time, instead of just fighting an enemy and then getting the option to do whatever I wanted, there were 3 signs. And one sign said, if you want to download a character buff, if you want to download a character, you go to this sign and you drop down this hole. If you want to get a buff, go to this hole. If you want to get I don't remember what it was, like heal your character or something, then go to this hole. And then so like when I drop down that hole and defeat that enemy that's set there for me, then I get access to that thing that it told me about. So like I have to make these choices, and I can run through it like Simulated Universe in a way that's like I have multiple paths that I can do to finish the dungeon. And I was so impressed by this because like there is infinite. It's like not only is this making your own domain, it's making your own Simulated Universe from Honkai Star Rail. And the only thing holding it back from being even more robust is the fact that when you go to create a level, just like with the teapot, you have like a load, like an object load. And some enemies and objects take up a lot of the load. So right now, a lot of the spaces will end up being big empty squares with enemies, or a lot of enemies and not a lot of objects, or a lot of objects and not a lot of enemies. So you have to decide. But the point is, if you go to do this preset thing, it is impressive. It is like, I really can't wait to see what people do with this. And have you ever played like Little Big Planet or like Mario Maker?
No, but I've played Destiny 2, and the reason why I bring this up, because you're not gonna believe me when I say this. They're doing the same thing in this season.
Oh my
They
god!
have this little okay.
Are you
hear me
serious?
out. So this is why I keep bringing it up, because for some odd coincidence, these two games, however different they are, seem to be doing the same thing or on the same development path. So in Destiny 2, they have this thing called a deep dive. You're literally going into like an ocean, and you clear out this one area, and then you go to the next area. But as you're going to the next area, or even before you start fighting, hey, what do you know? There's these two floating orbs that you have to interact with that give you a buff. Oh, do you want to buff your weapon damage? Do you want to buff your ability damage? Okay, now you play through that whole level, and as you go to the next level, oh, do you want to buff like to like your ammo account or like your ability regeneration? Like, it's literally the same thing.
Oh, okay. So it's the same as like simulated
It's
universe.
like as a roguelike,
saying,
yeah.
right?
It's exactly like that. But the fact that they're on like, hey, Genshin has this event. Oh, hey, this same thing, the same feature is in this other game too that I'm playing at the same time.
That's
Or-
like a totally different genre, right?
What?
I thought you were
Why
gonna.
are
I
they so
literally
similar?
thought you were going to say that Destiny 2 has like a create a dungeon feature right now. I was like, are you kidding
No,
me?
no, they don't have that much. But
Okay.
just the funny thing that they're doing the mini game at this point in time, which is exactly what the other game's doing in their season.
Right.
Which is exactly what Diablo is kind of doing as a dungeon crawler with all these buffs and power ups, and like it's just a very weird coincidence.
Well,
Like, I
Diablo
swear to
is
God, they're on
definitely
the same Discord.
Diablo is definitely not the same, but Destiny.
Well, yeah, but like progressively getting powerful per level, like choosing buffs and stuff like that. Just
well, Diablo doesn't have like a choosing buffs thing, like not.
Oh, they don't? Really?
Not the way that it's presented in Destiny and Genshin, the way you just mentioned.
well,
Like,
yeah, it's definitely not the same, but just the
Yeah. I mean,
the type of game that allows you to progress and power up.
Oh yeah,
in,
but
like,
Diablo's been like that since
temporarily.
forever. So like that's
I
why I
know.
can't say anything about that.
It's
But
just-
like, but specifically
just
the
cool.
fact that like there are limited events happening at Genshin and Destiny at the same time that somehow mirror each other in some capacity is a really weird comparison because like I play Fortnite, I play like other games, like there's none of them are doing anything remotely close to these things. And yet Destiny and Genshin, the only two games that you mainly play at this point, and I guess Honkai Star Rail if you throw that in there.
Getting
They're
the
like
same
all
experience
doing
in
the
either
same
game.
thing. It's so weird. Anyway, yeah, so like okay, so since you haven't played Divine Ingenuity yet, you got to play it. Like I mean, I also
For
looked
sure,
at
I
it,
am
but
definitely.
like I mean, but even just
Mhm.
the preset domain because I didn't understand it.
Mhm.
And it's hard to understand until you just play through it. But now that I've explained it to you, you can see what I mean.
Mm.
But I had no idea. Going in, I just did the preset domains this morning, and I was like, oh my god. I can't imagine what people can do with this. Like, it's crazy. So,
I mean, I use the camera. I get stuck in camera mode for like hours.
right.
So like for sure, when I do a game like this or a mini game like this, I'm gonna get stuck in it for hours trying to craft it. Especially because I spend so much time moving my teapot,
Right.
and I still do from time to time. I still move some stuff around. So
I
see
mean,
what the
this is
new
like-
furnishings look like.
So
I
this is
maxed out everywhere.
incredible because like this is one of those things where it's like, have you ever played like a create a dungeon, create a game mode sort of thing before?
Halo Forge.
Okay,
comes to mind
Forge. Okay,
immediately.
perfect. Yeah. So
Mhm.
so think Forge, right? But more of a like Forge doesn't have too many options when it comes to like devices that are connected to other devices. A lot of it is like if you blow something up, it'll affect this in this way or something. But this
More
one,
of a physics game, yeah.
right? It's physics
You
based.
like floating objects, destructibles, but then they don't let you spawn enemies. But the vehicles and everything, you can actually like fuse objects together. This is early Forge. It's not the current day Forge in Infinite. Wait, Infinite has Forge, right?
I
don't know.
have no idea.
Yeah, I know they didn't have it at the beginning, but Forge just allows
They
you
didn't
to
in
craft
4 either.
objects and like flooring and walking space, just exploration space. Not so much like gadgets. They don't really
Yeah.
have like a gadgets other than equipment that your character uses.
Jumping
to, like,
puzzles
to
were my
fight.
favorite thing.
I love those.
So
Making racetracks are great.
so like the thing is like Forge is physics based, but this one is more technical. I don't know how to say this. This is more like game designy, where like you can set. There's more coding involved because you can set objects to interact when other objects are
Like
activated.
events and functions. And
So for
stuff
example,
like that. Yeah.
Like it's basically the developer tool, right? You like for example, like when you like in the overworld when you see like one of those pillars with an element on it and you hit it and it activates something, right? Like you can set those. So I can put down the pillar, and then I can choose if I want, when I activate this appears, or this deactivates, or this activates, or like you can choose all of that.
Pressure plates
Yeah.
or
So
like
I did a thing.
environmental hazards
I did a
and
thing, a
incorporation
super
with
quick
it.
test because I wanted to see how it would look. I was doing Mia in a thing. I put a platform in the corner of like one of those fire pillars that you have to shoot to activate, and then I put a bunch of 4-leaf sigils, just around it, like in the sky, and so I made it so that they all started off hidden, and then when I shot the fire thing, they all showed up, and it was like stars in the sky, like it was just like bling, like they all just showed up, and I was like, wow, that was cool. So yeah, it's very, very cool. It's very intuitive if you know if you know the coding language with like triggers and things like that, that are common in these create a game mode things, then it should be pretty simple to pick up. But if you don't, it could be kind of confusing at first. But once you learn the ropes, maybe if you watch a video, maybe if you read the tips guide thing that is on the Hoyo Lab or on their Twitter, it'll make more sense. So yeah, I think that this mode has like infinite potential, and that if this were to be a permanent mode, Genshin would never be lacking for content. Like this is such a cool mode. The only thing is like, I would hope that as time goes on, they add more objects, more interactive things, more enemies, and then they add more load to the levels so that you can put more things in one space. Like this would really change Genshin's playability. Like I would have entire streams dedicated to playing other people's created domains. You know what I mean? Like that would be insanely cool.
The more and more we talk about this, the more I'm like, this sounds really, really cool. And the more, honestly, the more sad I get, because like I would be spending all this time. And even if we do like a live episode where we make a community domain, and then it just goes away in a week. Like, it would be cool like to go back into it, or like we can record it as much as we want, but it's just the feeling of impermanence.
Yeah, but
like, I like my teapot, even though I don't craft every day. It's just it's there. I can still run around, change it up every now and then, or just actually just go in and build something just as my end game. Like I deplete all my resin, go into my teapot. I mean, right now the only thing I can do is just open world stuff, gathering, and just maybe a camera.
Like, man, they showed us it's possible. We just gotta show them we want it.
Oh yeah,
what I mean?
I have hope that it will be permanent later on. They'll definitely bring this back.
Yeah,
because a lot of people really like this stuff.
Yeah, we gotta show them we want it, man. Nobody expected or asked for teapot or TCG, and that's permanent. Okay, like so, I'm just hoping that this mode that's like already, this is its second version, and it's much improved over the first version. Just here
to be fair,
it.
A lot of people did want the teapot, but that's a separate point.
Yeah, I mean, just like it wasn't like I mean, yes, people wanted like a housing thing for sure, but it wasn't like they didn't do like a oh, will this be what is it, like you said, they didn't do like a test version of that or of TCG. They just like came out with it because that's what they wanted to do. But now they showed us, hey, you can make custom domains in this game. And now, I think if enough people ask for it, all they have to do is figure out a way to keep it and manage it, and like their game would just keep going. It would just be, it would make lull moments in Genshin fun, because you can try out custom domains, you can make your own custom domains. Like you said, I like the idea of, you said the community ones. I guess like that actually sounds like a good idea. Like go on stream and just stream yourself making domains. Like I should do that. I'm gonna do that this week. Why not? Like let's try it. Like yes, we should do one together, but like even on my own time, like my own stream, I'll just like, okay, time to make a new domain today, let's see what we can make. So yeah, that's a really cool idea, and I would be interested to watch other people do that as well. It's like Mario Maker. Like I really like Mario Maker and Little Big Planet and stuff, because of the freedom you have to basically design your own game. So pretty cool. Is there any other points you want to make about Divine Ingenuity before we move on?
Overall, this is a fantastic mode. Hands down, it's really good. It's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna hold off for a little bit until all the preset domains are out, so I can play it all at once. I might just try making some stuff just to see what kind of tools they give me, because I haven't built one yet, obviously. But yeah, really hoping they bring this back. Obviously, like very early on, I can tell. I really hope they bring this back again. I can already tell it's really popular. This allows a lot of people to spend a lot of time in the game just messing around, getting creative. But yeah, it's a good event. The only thing that holds it back for me is just the time limited events.
Right.
A lot of people,
Not wanting
especially
to
because
spend
they're just
time.
new. Yeah, a lot of people are new at this game. People are still coming in for the first time. Because maybe it's like there's downtime in other games and people are trying to find out, hey, what else can I do to help grow my channel? And obviously Genshin is still a very lucrative community that they can dive into. But yeah, I like it. Hopefully they bring it back soon.
So I'm hoping for the best for this mode. I hope it stays. I mean, the website being as robust as it is gives me hope by itself. The fact that they're going to let that website stay up even after the event is done is also a good sign. But yeah, hopefully it comes sooner than later. Maybe it'll be like a mid 4.0 update or something like that. But I have really high hopes for 4.0 in terms of quality of life, and hopefully this game mode, because because quite honestly, Honkai Star Rail has shown me what Genshin could be. So like there's just so many, like,
a turn-based combat game.
Yeah,
really?
everything else except that. Like the fact that you can actually go back and replay the previous events, the fact that you can like use multiple items when refining something, so you can just go up to an object. What's it called? You can take something that, like a weapon that you have multiple duplicates of, and you can just put it to refinement level 5 right away instead of having to do it one at a time. You can filter artifacts by main stat and substats. You can
make an artifact.
What?
You can make one.
What do you mean make one?
An artifact, or wait, relic? Sorry.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can basically make artifacts in Honkai Star Rail. You can also, what's that other thing? You can salvage them so that you can save them as experience for the ones you don't want, instead of having to just feed the actual artifact and only being able to do 6 at a time. There's just so many things Genshin. There's so many things that Honkai has that we want in Genshin that we've been asking for as a community, and hopefully 4.0 is the gateway to us getting most of those, which are proven to have worked in Honkai Star Rail. So let's hope they don't leave us behind as Genshin players. But yeah, so Divine Ingenuity is really great. If you haven't tried it already, go ahead and try it. Join our Discord if you haven't already, because we have a channel in there where we are sharing different domains. So if you're just getting into this now, the event is just starting, so we can have the next 2-3 weeks to share and try out domains, and I'll be streaming some. If you have some to share of your own, or some that you found online that you want me to try or want us to try on stream, go share it in the Discord and let us know. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic, which is Spiral Abyss 3.7, the May 2023 waxing phase. Okay, so that's the current Spiral Abyss as right now, where floor 12 is the first floor is some Whopper flowers and the robots, and then we have the big Dendro chicken, and then we have the Abyss Lecter guys, and then we have like a bunch of stuff, consecrated beasts, so many things. So very, very difficult Spiral Abyss. It is definitely making the rounds on the internet as the hardest Spiral Abyss we've had so far, even for people who spend money on the game. It's pretty difficult to get complete within the time limit given for the maximum rewards, right? And now, Kahi, have you tried this Spiral Abyss at all? Have you been doing Spiral Abyss?
Yep, I did it early when it first went online, just to get some Primo Gems. And nope, I did not 36 star it. I like my sanity. I like being less anxious. I like being able to, have my hair intact. I also like being able to breathe. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying life. I'm just like, I'm having a time.
I see. Wait. But so did you finish floor 12?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, but did you finish it with like any Primo Gems, with any stars? Because
I think one,
like,
it took a long time, but I had to use like all the Archons, and obviously that's a lot already.
I see.
It's just, I didn't want to take so much time trying to get like maybe 2, maybe 3 for at least one of these floors. Like
Mm-hmm.
at this point in for the Abyss, because it really hasn't changed all that much since it came out.
Right.
I just go through it like once, like one run, whatever it is. That's how it is. Like I'm not gonna just redo it and redo it and redo it because I have to go all the way to the beginning floor, just fight through and choose like one of the regular buffs, which is, I mean, the Honkai Star Rail really kind of spoiled me as to like what kind of buffs they could do or what kind of like power ups they could do. Because for a closed space like this, I mean, they really don't need to hold back on like a blessing or buff system because like, why not? If you're making them like exponentially harder anyways, why not bring us up a little bit too? A good fight isn't always a hard fight, and a hard fight isn't always a good fight. But if you make the person really good along with the boss being really hard, now you're on like the same almost like power level, and now it becomes a really really good fight. So I mean, you know what I mean? Like if you can,
Yeah, no,
if you just keep buffing the boss only and not the player, then the player is gonna feel very very frustrated. But obviously, if you make the boss like really really flimsy and easy, then it's not a good fight either.
Right, and
But
there
like,
comes the difficulty in game balance, right?
Mhm.
Because everybody has different skill levels, and
Exactly.
and maybe different characters in this case, and etc. etc.
And different jobs and different bank accounts and stuff like that. I mean, everyone's different in a way.
I like different bank accounts, like meaning like if they're a whale or not. Is that what you mean?
Pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah, if
yeah.
they could be a guppy versus a whale, like how fast can they swim?
I love that analogy, by the way. But so yeah, so agreed. So basically, what I wanted to talk about was uh, artificial difficulty, right? And this is like a thing that is in different games and different places. And like you said, a hard fight isn't always a good fight, and nor is it a fun fight. So in this is one of the first times I thought, because I heard it's hard, it's difficult, I thought, okay, I'll use a guide to try to do this Spiral Abyss, so I know what's coming ahead of time, I know what to do, and quite frankly, like, there are many things about this Spiral Abyss that I just feel are not fun for anybody. So, okay, so here's one example. The first floor, the first chamber, floor 12, the first half, you get to floor 12, the first thing you have to do is you have to fight 2 waves of 3 Whopper Flowers, followed by 2 waves of 3 of those little triangle robots. Okay? And the thing about Whopper Flowers is they teleport. And they teleport
They go
somewhat
underneath, right?
Right, and so they teleport
Immune in a way.
somewhat. No, not just that. Not the teleporting and not being able to damage them. It's the movement, and them going away from you, or them teleporting somewhere where like it might be difficult for you to attack them, and thus wasting time in your crunched 90-second, ideal 90-second window that you finish the first half, because you cannot finish with 3 stars if you're trying to go for like all the rewards. You need to finish each chamber of the floor 12 in 300 seconds, which is 300 seconds. Wait, no. Wait. Is it 300 seconds? Sorry. You have to finish in 3 minutes. And so that basically means you have 90 seconds to finish each half. And that is really difficult when the enemy keeps teleporting around and doesn't stay still, and they're not only do you not have characters to gather them together, but if you also don't have enough damage to kill them, okay? Which is why when you have to start thinking with what characters you have available, making sure that your characters are strong enough, all that stuff is very important. Now, the whole thing with these Whopper Flowers is that they teleport, just like the Abyss Mages, they teleport around somewhat randomly. They'll teleport to like a distance around you. Okay, so if I was just gonna go in there and play it like a normal fight, like in the overworld or whatever, then I would have to like go. I would go up to the enemy. I would attack them, or gather them with Kazuha or some other animal character, and then they'll teleport away from me. And there's 3 of them, and so they'll teleport. One will teleport this way, one will teleport that way, one will teleport way over there, and then I have to go catch them. Like I have to go fight them where they are, depending on my character, or I have to, refigure out my strategy. Now, the way that people get around this in the guides for Spiral Abyss and all that stuff is you have to use the AI's behavior against it. Now, this is not something that is intuitive. This is not something that is written in the game anywhere. This is something that they figured out because this is so hard that if you don't do this, this becomes almost impossible to clear in the correct time. You have to run to the edge of the arena so that the AI forces the Whopper flowers to get close to you at a certain distance. And so if you do that, all of the Whopper flowers will come close to you. And they'll teleport like right on you at the wall or whatever. So and then when you do that, you can gather them all together. I used Kazuha, and then I did attack them all at the same time. But whenever I found and I retried many times. Whenever I didn't do it slightly right or I was slightly off or something, then sometimes the flower would just teleport way far away, and it was literally impossible for me to go kill it and then come back to kill the other ones in time for me to get the 90 seconds. And I don't have a super crazy powerful account or anything like that, but I have enough power and I've been playing since basically the first day. So, it's pretty annoying to think that the optimal way to do this is using something that's not written in the game. And I have a hard time imagining people being able to actually complete this challenge without doing that. And that's what a lot of people say in those guides.
So you said something earlier, and I want to point this out because I don't know if people really look at it this way. So you said you have to complete this whole thing in 90 seconds?
Each half has to be 90 seconds, yeah, if you want the thing.
So technically, I'm not disagreeing with you on this. I'm actually saying technically that's not true. Because if there are a few seconds where you cannot do damage, then that is artificially lowering the amount of time you actually have. Which is frustrating, because if people look at it that way, if you're given a time limit and say, hey, clear this dungeon in 90 seconds. Okay. Oh, by the way, the boss has a cutscene for 30 seconds. You can't skip it.
I was okay, so you mean 60 seconds, right? Yeah, so
yes, that's the frustrating part.
Actually, what I thought you were going to say was that the other thing is you don't actually have 90 seconds. You have 3 minutes to do both sides, which means you can do one side in 60 seconds total. And one side in more seconds. So it just depends on your team and stuff. But if both sides are frustratingly difficult to achieve in 90 seconds, then it becomes, a toss-up as to which one ends up actually being that way. So you kind of need to aim for the 90 seconds as much as possible in these harder ones. So say you do this thing, right? And then you have X amount of time to, you have to fight 4 waves of enemies, which means sometimes you have to wait for the enemies to spawn, and you have, like you said, the cutscene. There isn't
artificial time.
Yeah, there isn't cutscenes, but there are getting ready sequences for some enemies, like the robots or some of the what are they called? The Eremites and stuff like that. So.
Or the Wolf Lord, the Golden Wolf Lord, and the Weenut.
Yeah, so
I swear those are awful because their summon animation is incredibly long. The Wolf Lord has a shield, and the only way to break the shield is to run to the edges of the entire arena and use geo attacks only, and then run to the other one by the time the shield regenerates.
Right.
Rena just always disappears. It's so annoying.
Yeah, so there's that aspect too. So the time part, I feel personally, with that small, so the more difficult that they make it, the more important the time part becomes. Because if the enemies teleport around, waste your time, right? And you have such a small amount of time, I feel like in many ways that is leaning towards artificial difficulty. And artificial difficulty is making something hard unnecessarily or for the sake of being hard. but it's not actually adding anything extra to the challenge per se. Like, yeah, you could let's see. Actually, let me Google if there's like a artificial difficulty. Here's a sort of description. Like, artificial difficulty, also known as fake difficulty, it's when a game's mechanics make the game more difficult in different ways. Like, and Dark Souls are more notorious for this. And, you know, people are saying, like, is artificial difficulty necessary? Is it, like, poor design? Like, for example, this boss is easy to fight. Like, it's not hard to fight. Like, the what's it called? The Dendro Chicken. Super easy boss to fight, especially if you have Electro on your team. You can kind of just whack at it the whole time. But you have a time limit. And adding artificial difficulty would be something like just doubling this guy's health. So it's hard because he has so much health, but the actual fight isn't hard. It just takes a long time to kill him.
So mechanically easy, artificially difficult.
Yeah, that's one example, right? I'm not saying that every time you add health to an enemy and you have a time limit that's making it artificially difficult. But in this case, that could be seen as adding artificial difficulty because it's actually not that hard. But then you add time and you add health and you just make it take longer. Then it's like, oh, it's difficult to do in the right amount of time. But that's because all you did was add extra health. Like, and there's like discussions around this. I'm not saying this is the end all be all for like, this is artificial difficulty and this isn't. But, you know, sometimes you have to question whether or not there is benefit for this. Like, for example, we're talking about, in this case, the thing that I really, really hated in this was the Whopper Flowers and them teleporting, because I would have never figured out that the way to manipulate Whopper Flowers, also Abyss Mages, there are also Abyss Mages in the second half of the first chamber, and you also have to you have to walk to the edge of the arena so that they teleport next to you and next to each other so that you can AoE them. If you don't do that,
Talking about the Fatui ones?
No,
the Electro mages?
the normal Abyss Mages, like the
like the
with
actual ones
shields.
with the shield.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So at the beginning of the second half of the first chamber on floor 12, there are two Abyss Mages, a Cryo and a Hydra one, and you have to, one of the recommendations was like, if you want to get through them quickly, is walk to the edge of the arena as soon as they spawn, and then their first teleport will be to the same location in front of you. Like, they literally teleport next to each other. So you can just AoE them. Like, it's very easy. And if you don't do that, if you don't know that trick, then that fight just becomes insanely hard, like so much harder, because you have to spend so much more time fighting these enemies. And if you don't know this trick, you're losing a lot of time, right? And so the only other way would be to brute force, like, have a really good, really, really built up team, which might be what Spiral Abyss is aiming for. But like, the level of this, the difficulty of this one, a lot of people, what I love about content creators that do Spiral Abyss content is they try to beat the game. They try to beat Spiral Abyss with teams that people are more likely to have, right? Not like fully, like, you know, there are full clears in 9 seconds or whatever. Like, it's not that it's not that you can't do it really quickly if you have a really good account. It's that most people will not be able to do this that way. And maybe that's what Spiral Abyss is aiming for, but at the same time, is that what Spiral Abyss should be aiming for when it's the only endgame content right now? So, you know, this discussion of like whether this is fun or not. Remember there was like that interview like a long time ago that was like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. The guy who mentioned, oh, we don't want to invest into Spiral Abyss because of, we don't want to cause our players anxiety.
Exactly. Well,
that comment, well, it resonated with a lot of people because it's a very loose definition. A lot of people have different ideas of what is anxiety or not, but also the fact that they aren't investing into an end game mode or content, especially if it's combat focused. It just doesn't sit right with people because now it feels like, okay, now I have all this power, I don't really have a meaningful place to use it, and you're only making it more difficult just to make me feel like I'm actually having a better fight.
Right.
So artificial difficulty is not good in a lot of ways.
Because at that point, you're almost balancing just for the people who are wailing on the game. Like, you're balancing, and this is a thing in Honkai, their Impact Third, as far as I understand it, is that there is parts of the game that are centered around whales, like around people who spend a ton of money and resources to power up their characters and have nothing to do. So Hoyoverse has to have a place for them to go. And so, since this is the only end game content, it becomes like, okay, so I'm just like a more casual player than some of these like whales, or maybe I play a lot but I haven't spent as much money, and I'm having so much difficulty, and it's frustrating and brings anxiety when I cannot complete this artificially difficult Spiral Abyss. And I think that is the conversation that's sort of going on right now. I haven't watched more. I'll watch more about it later and comment on it more later as we learn more about this. But there are people commenting on that this is the hardest Spiral Abyss ever. And, is that a good thing? And so, yeah, I'm really curious to see how this discussion evolves, but I just wanted to bring it up because I did it myself. It's very hard. I didn't like the fact that if I didn't look up that video and knew about the AI behaviors, I would not have been able to clear this in a reasonable time at all. And that the game doesn't tell you, hey, walk toward the edge of the arena and these guys will teleport. That's not a thing. That is something else entirely. So, and you know what's funny? When we did an episode about that was the time I mentioned we should have custom domains. Because that was my solution for the end game, is like having a custom Spiral Abyss where like people can. Right now, the mode that we have, the Divine Ingenuity, doesn't let you use your characters and their abilities and builds and stuff, as far as I know. Like, you can use your characters, but they're set to the preset level of things. I haven't looked into it yet. But what I was thinking at that time was, let us make custom Spiral Abyss domains with custom waves of enemies and custom buffs, and let us test people. Let us give people Spiral Abyss-esque challenges, and let us make our own end game like that, and let us use our power in that way instead of forcing everybody to play the same sort of not fun end game. Or the people make Spiral Abyss, the normal Spiral Abyss, super hard, but then give the people who can't beat that a way to practice. You know what I mean? Like these other custom domains where like they test your level. You know what I mean? I think there's so much potential there in custom domains.
So I have this idea. Here's this thing. It's fairly simple to implement, but to contextualize it here. Imagine like all the enemies are, I mean, from a game design perspective, all enemies really are just like an object with a health pool. So let's just say 1,000,000 health. Okay. Artificial difficulty scaling is just, hey, this punching bag now has 2,000,000 health. No, that's not really fun because now I have to keep hitting it longer. Effectively, you're trying to do 2,000,000 points of damage. Imagine you have that same boss, 1,000,000 health, but now you have this other thing that has, or like these two things pop up, which each have 500,000 health. Like, okay, now I gotta attack those things before I hit the boss. That's literally just a mechanical change, effectively doing the same amount of damage, but you're splitting it between two other things before you can continue like burning the boss down. You are still doing a total of 2,000,000 damage to defeat and complete the whole scenario, but you've broken it up and split it up to other types of enemies, making it more interesting rather than just hitting the same punching bag.
Exactly.
When you keep doing artificial scaling, it's not fun. When you are able to at least be a little bit creative and say, hey, now we have this other enemy first in the middle of the boss fight, and you gotta kill that first, and then you gotta kill the boss. That's literally how every raid goes in all other MMOs. You're doing the same amount of damage total, but now you have to do it to different enemies. Everything feels different, and you just maybe change a cosmetic or something, reskin a boss or whatever. But if you just keep making boss number and health go up because we want to make it harder, that's not really good game design in my opinion. But all really Hoyoverse has to do is just give us the different types of enemies during a fight instead of just making them a bigger punching bag.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and that's where the discussion is. That's one solution to just adding more health or just adding less time. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a fight exactly the same, and then you have 90 seconds to do it, but you finish it in 60 seconds. And you go, that was too easy. But then you go, okay, so then now same exact fight, but do it in 30 seconds. Oh, now it's suddenly hard because I have less time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You just change the number and you think it's good. No, that's not. No one's gonna like that. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So we just hope that people are more innovative when it comes to increasing the difficulty, and then maybe maybe it'll be for a less scrutinized but still more difficult sort of end game. It'd be really nice. So
I mean, it's part of the reason why I don't really take Spiral Abyss as seriously anymore. Like, it's not something that I have to get 36 stars, because I could honestly just do the mini games and I have more fun.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely fun to challenge and see where you are at a certain point, but it's not worth like, you know, it's not worth it if it's frustrating to you or gives you that much anxiety. Like, it's just not. So, you know, but if you really want to do it, I recommend looking up guides, because right now, it's frustrating to do by itself, because unless you know these tricks already, it becomes almost impossible to do in a normal fashion. You have to play you have to play the game, so to speak. You have to play the game, like, you know what I mean? You have to use the game against itself. And that becomes like person by person basis sort of thing. So anyway, so that's kind of the little spiel I wanted to bring up about Spiral Abyss and artificial difficulty, because we've seen it in a lot of games, and I really don't want Genshin to be the game that has this discussion all the time, where it's like unnecessarily hard content. Like a lot of people akin Dark Souls to this sort of behavior, like it's hard because all the enemies kill you in one hit kind of thing. Like, is that really difficult, or is that just making it difficult for you just because, like, is it actually difficult or not? So yeah, if you have any comments about this, let us know. Join the Discord, comment on the on Spotify, on Twitter, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this discussion. It's been around for a while, so yeah, I'm sure there are some people out there who have some thoughts on it. Okay, so that wraps up our Spiral Abyss section. Now let's move on to our community question discussion. So Kahi, what was last week's question again?
So the question was, if you were an NPC giving a daily commission to the Adventurers Guild, what would it be? So as far as like the answers to this one, Josh, did you already have your answer? Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Oh yeah, you can go first.
Okay, so I still remember when you had to do, 3 commission quests from the city vendor in order to get reputation. And those are like hunt quests. Like, you have to go find this one open world enemy, defeat it, then come back. Honestly, I think that's what daily commission should be. Because right now, like, once you reach max reputation, you don't really have much of a reason to go back and do it again. Because you got the glider, you got the recipes, you got the gadget. I mean, I'm sure you can get like Mora or something, but you can get Mora like a million other ways. But for some Primo gems would be nice. So if I had to be an NPC and give a daily commission, yeah, it would be like a hunt quest. Go out, find this particular enemy, or maybe you even have to reveal it, and then you can come back. It's like, it makes it just more interesting than just go here, do this thing, and then that's it. Like, not something so simple, but something actually not so much challenging, but just takes a bit of, I don't know, a bit of investigative work, but just something to just be more, it helps keep it interesting rather than just being so monotonous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what my thing would be. What about you?
My favorite thing is they have this in Genshin in the form of like Insumaru puzzles with the usually involving using the lyre, I think, but there's a flower, I forgot what it's called, but you have to like walk on the path, and you have to walk the path without going over the same tile twice. You know that puzzle?
Oh yeah, the garden one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the purple flowers. I know what you're talking about.
They have that in multiple ways in Genshin. They've had it in past events. They've had it in like random overworld quests. I really like that style of puzzle. So I would give a commission that has a puzzle like that. That's like somewhat random generated. And it would be a big one. So it wouldn't be like just like 9 squares. It would be like 28 by 28 squares or something, like a huge area that's just for this like commission. And there's a bunch of different patterns, and you get like a random pattern every time. Like, yeah, I would do that. That'd be fun. I really enjoy doing those.
Because you see that kind of stuff, I would assume is fairly easy to actually implement because it's in the game. The code of it exists in the game already. You can literally just tell the game reactivate the open world puzzle and solve it, I guess, again, but just the parameters are slightly different. Like, I'm sure like you've done a puzzle like years ago and you forgot the solution to it.
Right.
I mean, you could literally like just activate it again, and now you have to figure it out once more. It actually rewards people for like solving these open world puzzles because you can actually just bypass them entirely. But if after all this time the game knows how to like turn it back on, if you've done it before, you've already done the daily commission quest. You know how to do it. It's the same as you know how to like defend the ley line. You know how to guard the balloon. It's the same thing. So just do the puzzle, solve it again. Just see if you can complete the puzzle faster. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. Okay, so let's see what people are saying in the community. So I'll read Discord questions. I'll read the answers on Discord first. So here we go. So Fox with Wings says, since we've had a couple of questions of the day here in which we imagine what job we would have in Teyvat, I would stick to those answers and keep my job as a field doc for the Knights of Favonius. And in that case, I would often task adventurers with refilling my herbs cabinet. Alright, let's be honest here. It would probably be violet grass. No one wants to collect violet grass, and NPC me wouldn't want to climb all over those leeway cliffs either. Edit. I just thought that I would actually ask Traveler to rescue the guy that has been trapped on a rock by the dog in Leeway. Oh my god, that's
I know
so
exactly
funny.
who that is.
That's
yes.
so funny.
He's still there to this day.
Oh no, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. Toledo says, I would continue to offer my current commission. Go to the Joruri workshop and kill the everlasting Lord of Arcane Wisdom, Shoki no Kami, the prodigal. Okay, sure.
Really?
Peachy says, moving goals. I need help moving, so first day is move the items, second day is unpack the items, third day is play a game of TCG. Oh, that's pretty great.
See, I like the multi-phase daily commissions, yes, because it's not monotonous. You know, like it's gonna be different every day. I mean, maybe you've completed one cycle of it, but you kind of know that it's evolving. But like,
sometimes I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I don't
quest.
pay attention, and like yesterday, I did one that I never did before, but I thought I did it before, and I finished it, and I got an achievement, and I was like, oh wait, I wasn't paying attention at all. I was just doing what it wanted me to do.
You had to water a flower for this one guy in Sumeru.
I had to. Oh yeah, that one I remember. The one I had to do was like, I talked to this lady at the bottom of Aru Village, and then she wanted me to like get a flower without telling someone, and then I got the flower, and then I had to get the water, and then I had to go up and then give it to the guy, and then I got an achievement for it, and I was like, wait, what? Have I not done this before? So yeah.
Probably chose a different dialogue option.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, those multiple day commission ones are pretty interesting. Meowie says maybe a fun commission like the one bouncing on mushrooms. Oh yeah, it's probably Nahida. She wants Traveler to have fun. That's yeah, maybe. I changed my mind. Maybe a commission where we get to walk a dog like a pet sitter commission or something. Oh, that one's good.
A follow or escort quest, and you just literally follow the. Wait. Who had that? Oh, Breath of the Wild had that. You find a dog, if you just follow it, it gets to a chest.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah, Zelda had that.
Breath of the Wild. Oh, the other day, I heard for the first time, I guess people have probably said this before, but like Breath of the Wild, like how people saw Genshin as a Breath of the Wild gacha game clone version. So some people say Breath of the Waifu. I think that's so funny.
I love that title.
I would play it. Quetzia says, so when Timmy tells you to feed the ducks and you kill them, you have to make it up to Timmy. And when you make it up to him, he's ungrateful. So I want a third commission after that tells you to kill his birds. Oh god, no, please. Timmy!
See, when you have a game, especially early on, where that lets you like destroy birds, and you just suddenly have a really big pile of birds, the first thing that's going to come to people's mind is, can I kill them all at once? How can I do that? It's a natural thing. If you give people like a bunch of stuff in a bundle.
Oh, people are naturally murderers? I see.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let me give an example. Let's say you have like a bunch of like little red barrels that you know will explode. Are you going to shoot it
No.
in a game? Really? If
Unless
you have
if
like a
there's
bunch of
enemies next to
explosive
it. If
barrels,
there's enemies next to it, sure. If there's not, no, I wouldn't shoot that.
see? Really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm serious.
you have a lot of self-control.
I've never tried to kill Timmy's birds until someone asked me to try to do it. Like I never tried doing that.
Well, it is a common thought. Is my main.
Yeah,
my main
people
point.
are messed up. That's what I gather. Okay.
Maybe it's just America.
Maybe. Signy says, I'm trying to think of what sort of menial tasks I would pawn off to another person if given the chance. And you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to make a sad one instead, in honor of the elderly dog at the temple I go to. Oh, this is sad. Okay. I would post a commission for Traveler to check up on and take care of an elderly dog. It would be one of those achievement commissions with like 3 variations, and one of which you would be able to find a clue that gives my name, like a receipt or a letter or a little kid that you can ask that will tell you about me or something. From there, you would be able to connect that to my NPC model that would have already been in the game and realize that it's really, really far away from the dog. And if you talk to me, I mention the dog that I can only visit on weekends. And for extra sad points, add a new variation of the commission a year after, wherein you take up the same commission only to find no dog there. You ask around and find out the dog has passed away, and my NPC doesn't know yet, so now you have to go inform my NPC, probably make it a requirement to finish the other ones first so the dog isn't dead the first time around for new players. And then my NPC can be in denial and keep posting commissions even after the dog is gone. Either that, or my NPC makes a little grave that they commission people to clean and leave flowers on their behalf. Jeez, that's loaded.
So you know how the developers had that interview a long time ago about anxiety?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, keep it a little more positive. But sorry to hear that. Lax says catch creatures with the net to fill out a Pokedex. Oh my god, that's great. How was that? I just realized
You can literally
no,
play Pokemon right now.
there's no commissions for that.
Just saying.
After you get the Ubiquity net, you should be able to there should be a commission that lets you use it. That'd be interesting. I would ask Kemleon says I would ask Traveler to escort me from point A to point B. No teleportation allowed, and it would be very long distances. No. Oh my! What the? Kemleon says first commission: escort from Mondstadt Cathedral to the port in Inazuma. Must leave from the Liyue port. That's literally like the whole thing. That would be the worst.
So I did this like when Genshin was in its first year. I went from like the farthest edge, and I just walked straight. It took an hour.
Oh my god.
Just trying to go through a path. I mean, because
Sumeru wasn't out yet, right?
No, but the thing is like, I think who did this first? I think someone did this in The Witcher. Like they started in like the very beginning and just kept walking. And did not do any teleports, didn't do any mounts or anything. Just kept walking through the whole game. It took like over an hour. And just did like a time lapse of it. Which is actually pretty cool. It's really fascinating because you can really get a sense of scale of this entire world. Just walking across the entire game. Sometimes in its own right is kind of fun. I mean, I know there's like caravans and Guild Wars 2 where you just keep going to zone from zone to zone to zone. Some people just like are on like they just go from like one town to another, just like on like farming quests and just attack anything along the way. Just little trips.
Yeah, that sounds like very time consuming, like this daily commission. But I mean, it can be fun if you don't have a time crunch or something. But yeah. So let's see. Retro Sky says, I think I would cause the Traveler much pain by asking them to give up all of their well-earned Primogems. Evil laughter. Oh my god, no. Stop that.
That is cruel.
Stop
wow.
that.
The only commission that takes from you.
Oh my god. Imagine they take it from you, and then you have to like come back the next day and get it. Otherwise you have to wait till you get that daily commission again to get all your Primogems back. Oh my god, that would be crazy. So yeah, and the last one here is Heartbroken Healer says, because I would be a traveling healer, I would probably run out of medicine at some point. So how about make other people get it for me? Nice. Yep, that sounds like a legit commission. But yeah, so that's it.
Actually, there is one. There's a doctor in Sumeru. Was it Zechariah?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Does he?
Yeah,
Does he ask you to get
you have to make
medicine?
medicine. Oh, he has to like tell the other person in our village how to make how
Oh
to make
right.
the medicine.
All right. Well, that's sort of similar, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, similar. But on Spotify, we have a couple of responses here. By Tris125, I would make the characters find me some rock, like a specific one, and then I'll make it into a few ascension materials for them. You know what? That would be really cool if daily commissions gave a a level up talent scroll or something instead of just some primo gems. Primo gems are good. Don't get me wrong, but just another alternate route to get level up materials would be nice instead of farming the same domain for years. Yeah. Next up, Wave Boy says, "Have your entire party fall 3 times in 2 minutes." Okay,
What?
this is actually kind of funny and clever because you have to find a way to like down your characters quickly. So now you have to find ways to like, okay, how can I cause the most damage to myself?
You just jump
Instead
down
of to the
10
other
feet
people.
and you die immediately. Like, might as well, right?
Well, you can find like a teleporter to like keep going, jumping off the cliff. But there's other ways to like be more creative with that. Next up, Kamisato says, it would be something annoying like bring me 10 foul, something like that. I mean, pretty straightforward. Who's this? God Usopp says it will be called Lovely Fowls. Basically, just slaughtering Timmy's birds and
Oh
giving me
my
3
gosh.
pieces of it. An actual commission. Next, Billy Dottie says, make the traveler do a funky little dance. The traveler doesn't have any dance animations, does he? Or do they? I don't think so.
They don't, but I would love to get
No.
one.
Next up, Katsuha says, of course, the mushroom jumping, or talk with Kazuha and Yae in Inazuma, or Skara and Kirara in Sumeru, or Jean and Benny in Mondstadt and Zhao, or Yunjin, Kaching, and Liyue. Is it? Oh, so the commission would be either mushroom jumping or a talk with certain characters. You know what? That might be interesting. Like almost like a forced hangout. Like your commission is go check in on them.
People mentioned
I kind of like that.
the mushroom jumping, but that's not. Nobody asks us to jump mushrooms. That just happens. Like you just have to do it.
Like it's just a thing.
Yeah.
An open world puzzle, but not really. Like
Right.
an event. And last we have Peter. Just straight up says to exterminate Timmy.
Oh my goodness.
Not the birds. Actually Timmy.
Please, guys, chill. He's a little boy.
Bored. We need to do something dramatic in the game.
I see.
So next week's question, since we are on the topic of creating custom builds and showing creativity and divine ingenuity and teapots and stuff like that, if you could build anything in the open world of Genshin, what would you build and where?
For example.
For example, where would you put a house in Mondstadt? Would you put your own little puzzle or floating platforms out in the open world? Or would you maybe put some characters permanently in, Inazuma or Sumeru, and you just always have a way to talk to them out in the real world? So, if you could build anything anywhere, what would you build and where?
All right. So to answer that question, make sure you join the Discord and type in the community question channel, or you answer on Spotify, or as well as reply to Twitter, our episode tweet of this episode. And yeah, that's it. Now we're actually going to go into our one last wish segment, which I totally forgot to mention earlier. Kahi, are you ready?
I'm ready. I got the banner opened up right now.
Okay, you go first.
Okay, I definitely need some weapons, so let's see if I can get a nice purple weapon. Or maybe a gold weapon. Who knows?
Okay, good luck.
Wish incoming. It is blue, and so am I.
And so are you.
What is this one? Emerald Orb. Oh, this is the HP one, I think. Alright, your turn.
Alright, so here we go. I'm gonna roll on the weapon banner as well, hoping I get a Thundering Pulse just in case on my main account. Let's see what happens. And go, and it's blue, so blue. And I got a slingshot. I got a bow. but not
So
the one
I got an
wanted.
orb. At least you got a cooler weapon.
Sure. You know what? Sure, Kahi. Okay, so that wraps up the show for today. As always, thanks for listening. And if you have time, please leave us a comment and a review. We'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter, once again, at Genshin Guys Pod, as well as my personal Twitter at JSide Gaming, Kahi's at Kahiao, Kahiyo, my Twitch at twitch.tv/JSide, Kahi on YouTube as well, Kahiyo, and don't forget to join the Discord if you want to hang out with us. So, as always,
Ad Astra Abyssos.
星としてを目指せ。
Enjoy.